Nolan, this defense be as good as it was a year ago?
I feel like Coach Smart develops us in a way that you play for each other, and once you realize that, that's when the great defenses happen. When guys play for each other, when guys put the egos aside, and just come out and just play football.
Coach Smart said that there's no complacency with this team. Do you see that too?
Yeah, I 100% believe in there's no complacency as far as what we did last year is last year, and we have to be where our feet are in today and in the present.
We're studying kind of like how Giants fall in order to avoid that. What sort of effect did that have on us?
A lot of guys, you saw their work ethic just go to the next level. When guys feel like you arrived and feel like you've done something and feel like you accomplished something, that's when nothing gets accomplished.
With the complacency Coach Smart talked about, he gave you guys examples of teams, examples from history. Do you remember specific instances, examples he gave you guys to learn from?
I don't want to call out any other teams, any other body else, so I think I like to skip that question.
Nolan, how long did it feel like before the page turned from last year to this year?
The 24 hours. I was telling someone the classes started on the 9th, and we played on the 10th, and the next day we were back in Athens trying to get our class schedules right, trying to get everything right. Well, actually, our class schedules are already right before we even left, so we can come back and just go to class, so you know what you had to have. So it was about 24 hours before we turned the page.
What about you personally in your decision to come back? I was curious because you were the #1 player coming out of high school, and you've got some players like Jadavion and some that were 3-year guys. Did you ever feel the pressure to be a 3-year guy, and what made you want to come back for a 4th year?
No, I don't feel the pressure to be like those other guys. I just want to be Nolan Smith, and I just try to be myself every day, and that's what I try to do. I came back ultimately for my mom. My mom wants me to get something that's more valuable and able to do something after football. Like, what about life after football? Like, I just don't want to be a football player forever, honestly.
No, everybody talks about culture. Obviously, you guys cashed it in with the national championship, but can you be specific as to why the culture was so good and helped you guys win in Georgia?
I'll say the culture as far as connection and knowing the person next to me and knowing why he's playing football, why he's even here, or how did he get here, what was his journey. And I feel like when you get to know someone else, like if you know the person you work with, you'll work harder for them and work harder for their reasons. Or if he's having a down day, I can push him. I can tell him his why. I can be like, your mom never quit on you, or such and such like that. And I just think guys, we get a lot more out of it that way.
So was it different last year than previous years in terms of how strong that culture was?
I feel like the only difference that we had last year is we just added a word called connection, and Coach Smart made us do skull sessions. Like, that was cut out of our football time for us to sit down and talk and understand why is he doing this and why is he playing football.
Nolan, Coach Smart said that Stetson Bennett was one of the least respected good players in the country. Why do you think that is?
Because no one wants to walk on quarterback, because the media, all they do is hype up the 5-star, big arm talent quarterback, or his great descendants were good quarterbacks and all of that stuff. You can't teach people how to win, and you can't teach what Stetson has. I personally think he has grit. So.
Nolan, what does Coach Muschamp meant to this defense, and what has he brought in his new role as well?
I think Coach Muschamp means a lot. He brings a lot of diversity, also a lot of age and a lot of wisdom, because I used to watch him honestly on TV when I was 7 and 8 years old when he was coaching at LSU at 2009, and I let him know that every day. And he also let me know that he used to play for Georgia football once upon a time. So I think that they invested into the program. Like, they went here and they care more about the program, and they don't want to see us, fail.
What's he told you about his glory days at Georgia and his college days?
Yeah, he's a 4-year starter at Georgia, and if you talk to him, he started more years than Coach Smart, and he's the older brother. So I know it's funny, just talking to them, seeing them go at it, and I think they're like old best friends.
What do you remember about watching Will while he was at LSU?
Man, he was yelling. He was just yelling and just ripping people on the sideline. And when someone asked me, is he a lot more docile and quiet now? And I say he's a little more quiet, I guess, because of the age. But when he yells, it's him.
If you could take one thing from last season, going through the experience of winning the title that will help you this year. What do you think?
Playing for your brother next to you, not playing for NIL deals, not playing to go viral, not playing for TikTok, playing for the guy next to you and being able to push with him through tough situations and in the game. That'll be something that I would love to take for the guys next year. Like, don't play for NIL deals, don't play for money. Like, play for the guy next to you or play for your why, like the reason why you play football.
Do you have to go through that to sort of gain an appreciation of what that means or what that is?
I wouldn't say you would have to go through it, but someone can explain it to you. Like, the best teams that I've been a part of play for each other. The teams that I've been a part of that only lost one game have just played for each other and were out there for your teammate.
Because you guys have lost so many players, nobody here is really talking about the potential of you guys repeating, or maybe even potentially going back to the playoffs. But how do you feel about that?
You know, I just think that as my team or as my guys, they should take that as a personal like disrespect. Like, we not good enough, and I just want them to live with that in their head every day. And I've been telling them what we did last year is last year.
Are you good enough?
We'll see.
NIL might not be the purpose behind playing, but it's certainly something y'all can access now. How do you go about managing
In person?
How do you go about managing NIL?
NIL. I'll say that don't take away from the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to come to college and get an education and play football to get to the next level. And you hear Coach Smart say it all the time. He said this when I was a freshman, just keeping the main thing the main thing. And I tell all the young kids that don't take away the goal from what you want, because the ultimate goal is to play in the National Football League and to make multi-millions, not, 1,000 every month or here and there, signing a couple cards.
Nolan, I'll ask an easy one. You've got a Ford Raptor that went kind of viral with all those national championship customs. Was that a dream of yours, that truck itself? And was any of it NIL funded at all?
Oh, no, none of it was NIL funded at all. And it was the ultimate dream. I love a truck. I'm a country boy. I think you should ride in a big truck. I think Ford make the best truck. And if someone want to come back, real men drive Fords. That's what I was raised in the South. So
were the customs your idea, or did you go consulted by somebody on those things?
We consulted it with a little ideas, and I had a little ideas. I 100% wanted the dog head and the G's on it, because I'm a Georgia boy and I gave 4 years to this university.
Nolan, what has you most excited about this defense? Given the departures and given what y'all have to retool, what has you most excited?
I'm ready to see our young guys play football, because like myself, when I watched Aziz in front of me for those 2 years and I sat on the bench and people thought, maybe he's not good, maybe he's washed up, I was just waiting my opportunity and waiting my turn. And a lot of guys, that's just how it is. We have so many good players, and some guys have to wait their opportunity. Some guys have to wait their turn. Some guys actually respect themselves not to jump in the transfer portal and want to be at a university and want to be there and be a part of something, I think, bigger than myself.
Coach Smart talked about Coach Cochran while he was up on the stage. Just what has Coach Cochran meant to this program since he's got here?
I love Coach Cochran, and he's the 100% the glue. And I think as far as men that can put their egos to the side, I think that's like talks about Coach Cochran. He puts his ego to the side every day and comes in and works and makes people better despite what he's been through.
What's it been like just building a relationship with him?
I had a relationship with him when I was a recruit, and it was amazing. And I just think now I go into his office like every other day just to sit down and talk to him.
Sorry. Last year, Anthony Richardson in Florida made his first start of his career and only start yet against you guys. Had a really rough day. There's a lot of high hopes for him, and people are projecting him as a top 15 pick based on potential. What do you see from him? Did you see any glimpses that day where you were like, this kid has something to him, even though he's having a tough one?
I'll just say, he's a great player, and I watch film not on the quarterback, so I really can't speak on that. I'm more watching film on offensive linemen, and in the game, I'm going against offensive linemen, not really the quarterback. I think that's more of a question for a DB, but I just think he's a really good player. He works hard, he's tough, and he has composure and he's poised. Everything that a quarterback needs, as far as I know of.
Did you notice that day, though? I mean, he was, he was in a tough deal that day.
Yeah, I noticed it that day, and I noticed that he kept his composure and tried to keep his team going, and that he's just a great teammate.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you mentioned Stetson earlier. Why does he get the disrespect? He leads you to a national championship, and still people are doubting.
Because I guess people want that big arm, the 5-star guy, the guy that they watched on Rivals, all those reps and stuff like that. Not the guy that was, had to go through the JUCO, had to take the tough way, had to take the long road and claw his way to the top. And once he gets there, then it's just, well, he's not good enough. He's not tall enough. He's not this and that. Nothing that actually pertains to, winning games and a man that leads men, basically. Like, that's what you need to be at a quarterback. You don't need 5 stars. Like, the stuff that people like look at is the tangibles for a quarterback is just so much greater than what you can see.
What's Stetson like as a leader?
I look up to him every day, and I think as far as what he does day in and day out, he grinds, he shows grit, and he wins. He just doesn't get enough credit for it.
Is it when y'all were kind of talking about the idea of like avoiding being one of those giants that falls? When were y'all sort of having those discussions, and how were you learning that?
Early on in school session, and that's one thing that I love about what Coach Smart done is we're able to go to a school session and talk about things on our team and not have a leadership meeting, a bunch of guys getting together and meeting about, stuff that really don't like pertain to like football. We go up there and we have school sessions and we talk about stuff that pertains to football, how it pertains to life, how do I need to do this to be better as a man every day. Just like guys that are late to workouts, if you're late to work, you get fired. It's just that simple.
What's a skull session?
A school session is when we break up into groups and we talk more about football. We talk about your why and things that help us. I think the intangibles that y'all can't see that help us win games. It's not that extra lift. It's not that extra run. It's that me sitting down asking him, why do you play football? Why do you do the things that you do every day?
Going back there.
Eric Gilbert had a really good spring. What have you seen with his improvement, and people in your position are going to have to pick him up going across the middle? What's the big challenge for a linebacker or a safety trying to cover him?
Man, he's quick, he's fast, he's physical, and he's just coming along great in our program, and he fits the scheme and the mold very well for the tight ends. And just wanted to give a shout out to Coach Hartley, man. He working with those tight ends every day religiously, day in and day out, and we go against them every day.
How big is Robert Bill coming back on this defense? I know you're sharing a position with him. Just what can he bring to this defense?
Man, one hand washes the other. That's my guy. So I love, a lot of people don't like to spit reps. A lot of people don't like to share plays, but someone that you can work off of, 1 + 1 is equal to 3 in our program, because the connection of me and you is another one. So a lot of people don't realize that, and that's how we play football.
Nolan,
Yeah, go ahead.
Nolan, what do you think you still have to prove at Georgia?
I wouldn't say I have anything to prove to anyone but my mom and myself, as far as the goals that I have for myself and just the lead. And I'm a senior now, so how do I want to be remembered?
Coach Smart described you as like the lighthearted guy on the defense. Recalled the joke, the Christmas gift that you gave him last year. What do you think that says about your personality, and your style of leadership?
I just say is that I can lighten the mood, but also like when guys know I'm serious, I can dial it in and get serious. But most of the time, like in between meetings and stuff like that, I'm making sure guys are awake, guys are up. I try to lighten the mood because we go from meeting to meeting and guys get sleepy and just want to go to sleep in the other room, or sometimes you just dump a little water, play with them, and he get mad and they wake up, but then they up for the whole meeting. I'm just trying to keep them up for themselves, and I just keep a light heart. This is a game. This is something I played when I was a child. It's supposed to be fun. When you go out there and have fun, that's when you make the most tackles, when you make the most sacks. If If you go out there and think about, man, I got to get 12 sacks, I got to get 55 tackles this year, I got to be a first-round pick, that's when you accomplish nothing.
What do you remember about that gift when coming into the team meeting? Just walk me through how that kind of went down.
So it's the Friday before, and he's up there serious facing meetings, and I came and brought him to Gillette because in fall camp, the coaches are there at 6 o'clock and then they don't leave till about 11. So I brought him to I think it was Just for Men, the jet black, and I gave it to him and Coach Muschamp. And it reduces the gray in your hair and stuff like that. He said he still got it in his office. I said you need to use it, but he came in the team meeting and said, Nolan gave me a little gift up here, so I guess he got jokes. I wanted to show everybody, but everybody thought it was funny.
This is the last question.
Talking to Vanderbilt's quarterback Mike Wright yesterday, he said all the quarterbacks kind of just see him like in this group chat, and they're all bouncing ideas off of each other and wondering like that. So I was wondering if you and other linebackers in the SEC are communicating. Like Will Anderson's also a Georgia boy, very skilled player, as you know. Are y'all bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff like that?
I'll say as far as like me, I don't, just because I don't know anything. So I'm resourcing the older people, guys in the NFL, Von Miller, guys that come back and help Georgia, and trying to learn from them. And that's one of the things that I try to take with my game is, try to learn from other people. But I do think that's a nice idea.
Thank you. Thanks, Nolan.
Thank you.